Yeah, and to switch gears a little bit, I almost wanted to go into I wanted to, almost thought about making this podcast the Founders Talk podcast because you also have a book box. But I do want you to talk a little bit about like your book box, the process of running a book box company, and just everything around that as well.
Yeah, I think that just stemmed from I think my passion for like diverse literature and really just amplifying diverse voices. I think when I very first like my first English let's run back. When I started like really getting into diverse literature, I was so I think blown away with like the books that I was reading, and obviously that's just great writing, but I was more so shocked that they had it like come, to the forefront before. Like, I'm just like, why aren't these books blowing up? Why haven't I heard about them? Like, I've heard about so many books, and so many like creators have made me buy books, 100%. But I'm just like, why didn't you guys send me in this direction sooner? And then I just realized that, wow, people just aren't speaking about it. And it made me realize that if me, as a Black woman, did not know the issues surrounding diversity in literature, I'm just like, then it's probably an issue that most people, don't recognize and don't see as an issue itself. And then we see it reflected in the book boxes. Book boxes, when I first, interacted with them, I loved it. You got cool trinkets and you got free art prints. It was just amazing. And then you got a really pretty book. It introduced you to new authors, and that's great, but very like it was very unlikely that you were getting an author from a diverse background. And some book boxes really focus on that, and I love it, but I was just like I was motivated to also yeah, to also participate in that sense and really just amplifying whatever I can do. And because I love book boxes and I love diverse authors and diverse books, I'm just like bring them together. And this is where this is where we landed, and it was great. Obviously difficult, like absolutely difficult, like sourcing products and getting in contact with publishers so that you can obviously get the books, and then actually getting the designs, everything so difficult because it is very time consuming. But I think at the end, when everything gets produced, like the first time, like, like they call you, it's just like, oh, your products have arrived. And then you open the very first one, then you see it. It's like, this is gorgeous. And then you see the reviews as well, and people appreciating being highlighted, or people appreciating seeing their people from their background and their voices being amplified. You're just like, okay, even on a small scale, like very small things being done have like they make a difference. So I was just like, yeah, was there or does there? I definitely see my role as being someone who, even on a small scale, will definitely help in amplifying like not just Black voices, but like voices from like different backgrounds everywhere. So I definitely felt motivated, and I'm happy I did it.
Did you have to drop ship everything, or were you curating the boxes at your house and all that yourself?
100% at my house.
At your house? Oh wow! Oh dang!
100%
Congratulations.
at my house. Like honestly,
Nah, that's tough.
yeah, I think yeah, getting the logistics of everything is another difficult part, especially when it comes to like shipments. But slowly but surely, things are getting easier. Like changes have been made, obviously, now in how we're running, but at the same time, the mission is still the same, which is amplifying Black voices and diverse voices, so Indigenous and other people of color, just all of their voices, making sure that their voices are heard, their books are read, their stories are read, and their cultures are understood and enjoyed. So I'm loving it.
Yeah, the cool thing about it is like once you build that community, you can always like even if it's not necessarily dropping books each month, you can still have a book club and all these other different things that kind of work off of that still want to read those books. I guess the last
Mhm.
thing on that was how'd you like curate which book you wanted to choose per month? Did you have like a process or anything specific for that?
The way I initially did it was that I chose like a continent. I was just like, okay, if I can choose a continent, then I can ensure that in rotation I am exploring different cultures regardless. I'm just like, so the very first book box was, inspired by African books, or books that were written by African diaspora or inspired by African culture. Um, and that was so beautiful and I loved it. And then, obviously we've done Latin America, which was the recent box that was earlier on in the year. And then we did Southeast Asian books. And that box, I absolutely loved that one because I think West African mythology is becoming more popular. And so doing that box was amazing. But I think because it's becoming more popular, I'm just like, great, those voices are being heard a bit more. But then I had one moment where I was reading so many Southeast Asian books, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, guys, you need to read all of this. And they weren't getting the attention. And so that box I absolutely loved. And Latin American culture, oh my goodness, it's just so beautiful. It's colorful, it's vibrant, it is delicious because their food is amazing. Um, so I think with each box, yeah, there was always something that I loved. And I just made sure that that way I'm really just tackling like different cultures and not showing favoritism to one. So continent was the best way. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to make sure I go around the world, and in that way, we're definitely not leaving anyone out.
Yeah, definitely want to give you your flowers because like you said, it's not easy to run a business like that, and just like the process and the care and all of it. It's just really cool. If you enjoyed that clip, make sure you head over to www.bookumapp.com to download our app so you can connect with your favorite bookish content creators, start conversations, and start your own book club.